Introduction. Plato, OG philosopher Mimi Lord. Let's face it, philosophy can sometimes feel about as relevant as a dial-up modem. But what if I told you that one of the OG philosophers, Plato himself, was basically a meme lord in the making? Okay, maybe he didn't have Twitter or TikTok, but the guy knew how to drop some serious wisdom in a way that made people think and laugh. Fast forward a few thousand years, and Plato's ideas are still surprisingly relevant. So grab your togas or your sweatpants, no judgment, and let's dive into the world of Plato, the original philosophical comedian. Section 1. Ditch the echo chamber, Plato's guide to critical thinking. In a world of instant opinions and viral trends, Plato is the ultimate voice of reason whispering, "Think for yourself, dude." He wasn't a fan of blindly following the crowd or accepting things at face value. Sound familiar? Yep, Plato was basically the original fact-checker. He believed in questioning everything, challenging assumptions, and engaging in thoughtful debate. Instead of hitting that like button without a second thought, Plato would urge you to scroll down, read the comments, with a critical eye, of course, and maybe even, dare we say it, formulate your own opinion. Plato would tell you to be wary of the echo chamber, that comfortable bubble where everyone agrees with you. Engage with different perspectives, even if they make you uncomfortable. Section 2. The allegory of the cave. Your newsfeed isn't reality. Speaking of echo chambers, let's talk about Plato's allegory of the cave. It's basically the Matrix of ancient Greece, but instead of Keanu Reeves, you've got Socrates dropping truth bombs. Imagine being trapped in a cave your whole life, only seeing shadows projected on the wall. You think those shadows are reality, right? Now imagine breaking free from the cave and seeing the world outside for the first time. The sunlight, the trees, the real objects casting those shadows. The cave represents our limited perception of reality, shaped by our biases, experiences, and yes, even our social media feeds. We scroll through our feeds, bombarded by carefully curated images and snippets of information, and mistake it for the full picture. But Plato urges us to break free from the digital cave and seek a deeper understanding of the world. Section 3. The forms. Why your crush is always out of reach. Ever wonder why your love life feels like a never-ending cycle of swiping left and awkward first dates? Plato might have an explanation for that. See, Plato believed in this wild concept called the forms. Basically, he thought that for every object or concept in our world, a chair, a tree, even love itself, there's a perfect, eternal version of it existing in a realm beyond our senses. Think of it like this: that picture-perfect couple on Instagram. They're just a pale imitation of the true, ideal form of love. So, what does this mean for your love life? Well, according to Plato, true love isn't about finding the perfect person or the perfect Instagram filter. It's about recognizing the spark of the divine, the form of love itself, in another person. So, next time you're tempted to judge a potential partner based on their follower count, remember Plato's forms. Section 4. Chariot of the Soul. When your inner doge wants all the treats. We've all been there. It's Friday night, you've had a long week, and your inner voice is screaming for pizza, Netflix, and zero responsibilities. Plato gets it. He even came up with a handy metaphor for this internal struggle: the chariot of the soul. Imagine your soul is a chariot pulled by two winged horses. One horse represents your rational mind, always striving for logic and reason. The other horse? Well, that's your wild side, driven by passions, desires, and the urge to binge watch an entire season of reality TV in one sitting. Section 5. Know thyself. Socrates would have nailed that personality quiz. If Plato were around today, he'd probably be the guy urging you to take a break from the scroll and engage in some serious self-reflection. You know, the kind of deep thinking you can only do when you silence the notifications and unplug from the digital noise. One of Socrates' most famous quotes is, "Know thyself." And no, he wasn't talking about figuring out your Myers-Briggs personality type or what kind of bread you are. He was talking about something much deeper: understanding your values, your beliefs, your motivations, the core of who you are beneath the layers of social media profiles and carefully curated online personas. It's about asking yourself the tough questions. What do I stand for? What makes me happy? What's my purpose in life? You have to look inward, my friend. Section 6, The Republic, Plato's Guide to Building a Utopia, memes included. Ever dreamed of a perfect society? A utopia where the memes are always dank, the Wi-Fi is free, and nobody argues about politics on the internet? Plato had some thoughts on that. In his masterpiece, The Republic, he lays out his vision for an ideal society, one ruled by philosopher kings and governed by wisdom, justice, and reason. Now, before you roll your eyes and start listing all the reasons why a philosopher-led government would never work, remember that Plato was an idealist. He believed in the power of ideas to shape a better world. And hey, in today's world, where misinformation spreads faster than a viral cat video, maybe a little dose of Platonic idealism is exactly what we need. Plato believed that knowledge was the key to virtue and happiness, and you can bet there'd be a strict no-fake news policy. Section 7. Love and Friendship, from Symposium to Sliding into DMs. Let's be real, Plato was a bit of a romantic. He even wrote an entire dialogue symposium dedicated to the topic of love. But for Plato, love wasn't just about hearts and flowers and awkward first dates. It was about a deep spiritual connection, a yearning for beauty and truth that transcended the physical realm. In a world saturated with superficial connections, maybe we can all learn a thing or two from his timeless insights on love and friendship. For Plato, true friendship was a prerequisite for love. It was about finding someone who challenged you intellectually, who inspired you to be a better version of yourself. So, next time you're swiping through profiles, remember Plato's words. Conclusion: Plato, still relevant after all these centuries and memes. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of Plato's greatest hits, remixed for the meme generation. Who knew that a philosopher from ancient Greece could still be so relevant in the age of Twitter, TikTok, and instant gratification? But Plato's enduring appeal lies in his ability to address the timeless questions that continue to fascinate and perplex us. What is the meaning of life? How can we live a good life? And what's the deal with love? So, the next time you find yourself scrolling through your feed, feeling overwhelmed by the noise and chaos of the digital world, remember Plato. Take a break from the memes, engage in some deep thinking, and remember to question everything.